at receiving grace. When you forget something or you screw up in some way, are you able to receive grace, or do you tend to beat yourself up over it? Last week, Matthew and I were talking about receiving grace, and he said, "Mom, do you remember the time when I told you it's okay to forget things sometimes?" And I knew exactly what he was talking about. It's one of the stories that I wrote in my book, Finding Joy. And I was pretty sure I had never actually read what I wrote in the book to him. So I said, "Matthew, come here. I want to read something to you." And I read this account to him. And it was so fun to watch him kind of light up whenever I read his name, when I wrote about the things that he said and how it had affected me. And so I want to go ahead today and read this devotion to you. If you sometimes have trouble receiving grace, I pray God will speak to your heart through this today. This one is called, What's for Dinner? If it is Sunday, the answer to the question, what's for dinner, is always the same. Sunday dinner at my house consists of frozen pizza, the self-rising kind, 1 cheese and 1 pepperoni, except for those occasions when one of the yummier varieties is on sale, and except for the other occasions when I go to the freezer and realize I forgot to buy pizza at the store the previous Monday. I remember one Sunday evening when the boys were going outside to play. As I was heading downstairs to get the pizzas out of the freezer, they were asking when to be home for dinner. I was opening my mouth to say, "Be home in half an hour," when I changed my response to, "Oh, I forgot to get pizza." I turned to go back upstairs and muttered, "I'm such a dummy sometimes." Joshua chimed in, "Just go to Little Caesars and get the hot and ready pizza. I like that kind better anyway." While I appreciated his efforts to cheer me up, I still felt like a dummy. I thought, come on, Kieran, you do the same thing every week. How could you forget such a simple thing? What are you going to forget to get next week? Milk? This private berating had ended by the time I got to the bottom of the stairs. When I looked up, I saw Matthew standing with his arms open toward me, and heard the most precious words come out of his mouth. "You're not a dummy, Mom. You just forgot. Everyone does that sometimes." Then he smothered me with hugs and kisses. His words were so simple and so full of grace. I was angry with myself for a small oversight, already blowing it out of proportion, and Matthew was reminding me it really was not a big deal. You just forgot. Everyone does that sometimes. Such wisdom flowing from the mouth of a 6-year-old. God used the words Matthew spoke to remind me of my need to receive and live in His grace every day. He showed me His grace abounds around me all the time. I am covered by the blood of Jesus, and by His grace my sins are forgiven. He extends grace to me in the form of patience as He gently and persistently speaks to me about something until I get it. I see God's grace to me when I find the strength to make it through a situation which seems impossible. His grace comes to me when a friend hugs me and speaks words of life to my weary soul. I see God's grace when someone recognizes my limitations and offers to help me out. I have a tendency toward perfectionism, and I want to do everything just right. Surprising, yeah? But I am not perfect, and God knows it. He knows I will never get everything right. He knows I cannot do all things. And He still has not fired me as wife to Brian and mother to Elizabeth, Joshua, and Matthew. God and I are in this thing together. I am doing my best, but God is the best. Every day I am learning a little bit more what it means to trust Him. I am believing by His grace He will catch me when I fall, and He will supply what I lack. The truth of the matter is, I will never be perfect this side of heaven. And because of God's grace, I do not have to be. I can still hear Matthew's words echo in my mind. You're not a dummy, Mom. You just forgot. Everyone does that sometimes. When it came to getting something on the table that night, Little Caesars came through for me. But the best part of dinner was the grace God poured out on me through Matthew. Do you need grace poured out on you today? Whatever it is, you're not a dummy. Everyone forgets, does things wrong sometimes. It's okay. Whatever it is, I know God can handle it. The world won't stop turning, and you're going to be just fine. Have a wonderful, Jesus-full day.